Well, welcome to another weekly lesson. Hopefully you guys are continuing to work through the content assessments and kind of get into some checkpoints. And I encourage some of you that haven't already been in this unit to get in there and just start completing some checkpoints so I can give you some feedback. Sometimes just those little, tries in something, I can, understand where you're coming from. I can understand maybe there's a gap here and give you the necessary support that I need. But again, we need you to be working in the unit and just trying some of these checkpoints, and you might surprise yourself and actually get some of them correct. So what I decided to do this time around is I decided to go back and just reteach a lesson and give some more foundational concepts to this idea of subtracting and adding negative numbers. So the learning target looks a little different than the last lesson that's associated with this. So I can solve addition and subtraction mathematical problems containing negative numbers in real world problems. So again, we're still centered around the idea of real world, but I kind of want to take a step back and see if you really truly understand how to add and subtract mathematical problems containing negative numbers. So we're going to kind of take a step back, and this lesson will be mainly for those that just need a little bit more detailed explanation and a little bit more modeling of how negative numbers operate. So again, there's going to be two lessons in this thing, where one of them is for those that maybe understand negative numbers, just need some reassuring and so they can learn how to apply it. And then this lesson will be for those that really need that foundational truth and maybe are just struggling getting started. So like in the engage section, I gave a little bit different picture than the last lesson. And so explain in your own words what's happening. So if you can look at that problem that they give, that is a integer negative subtracting problem here, what is actually happening? Use the arrows in the number line and kind of see, where things are moving, where things start, how things are adjusted, and understanding the number line, it can be used to help us kind of visually see where things are positive and where things are negative and how we move back and forth. And we can maybe even use a number line when we're solving problems as a way for us to visually see it and be successful in solving it. But again, they may work for smaller problems, but when you get into the bigger ones, number lines somewhat are a little bit tedious. So we need to understand what's happening. But a number line will show us what is actually happening as we explain this. So in the Explore section, I found some additional resources, not the same ones from the last lesson, that will give you a more basic understanding of negative problems using addition and subtraction. So I give you a video that kind of, again, shows some more foundational and step-by-step processes on how to do that. I did have a resource here that, again, starts out with a number line and shows you exactly where the negative side is and what the positive side is and what those actually mean. And it even goes through that what each sign means, that a plus sign is a positive and a minus sign is a negative. And they kind of give some examples as you work through this through balloons and weights, and kind of show, the balloons pull up in a positive way and the weights drag down in a more negative way. And then it kind of runs through some examples for you, which is kind of nice. So like example one there, 2 + 3 = 5. We know, and we've seen that constantly through our lives as even younger kids, is that if we have 2 things and we add 3 more things, we get 5 things. But really what you're doing is you're saying that a +2 plus a +3 equals a +5. So you were actually doing some integer problems without even knowing it. We just didn't see them that way. And the same thing for subtracting. Right? Here's 6 - 3 = 3. We've seen it before, but what you're actually saying is that a +6 minus a +3 equals a +3. So you're using the ideas of integers without you even realizing it. And then when we get to the negative examples, so here's an example, 6 + -3 = 3. And I'm going to kind of show my whiteboard here if I can get this thing working. And if you see here, we'll move this side. Okay. So we have 6 + -3. Okay. So we have 6 + -3 = 3. Now, the first thing I want you to notice is I love that we put parentheses around the negative so that it's not looking like this And then these signs sometimes get joined up or confused because we don't know which one is which. So if we put things in parentheses around negative numbers only, it kind of keeps things separated. So if we were on a number line, say here's 6, and then here's -3. All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2. So if I start at +6, and then this is telling me I need to move -3. So I'm adding -3. What does that mean? What it really means is I'm moving to the left 3 times from the point of 6 where I started from, right? So if I started at +6 and need to move -3, and we know that negative means left, I move left to get to +3. All right, so I'm still positive, all right? So if I look down at these examples, the same thing applies to +6 minus +3 equals +3, or 6 plus -3 equals 3. So there's some different ways and some different wording in there. If we get to a subtraction problem, what we're actually saying is we've used these before. If you go back to the last lesson and look at the cheat sheet, what we want to do is we want to change subtraction to addition. And what we say is keep, change, flip. So I keep 6 the way it is. I always change the subtraction to a plus. I flip the -3 to a +3. So that's why parentheses are important, because they tell us what operation we're in and where we can flip it to. So my answer actually ends up being +9 because I changed a subtraction problem into an addition problem. And again, they give you some more additional resources as you look here through these different examples. What is 6 minus +3? What is 5 plus -7? And use this resource to kind of see how they're solving these problems. So again, this resource and this lesson is kind of to firm up your understanding of what negative numbers really are and how to operate them. And here is a do section of you completing some problems with this idea. And the explain section is you just adding and subtracting in your own words what's happening. You can use the resource that we just looked at. And then the evaluate section, I just have you practicing some simple problems. Again, you could use your calculator, but what I want you to do is see if you can understand how to use negative and positive and how to add and subtract negative numbers based off of these resources that you've applied. So maybe have these resources open in another tab to kind of help you solve these problems. And honestly, if you want to go back to the last lesson and download that cheat sheet that I gave you in the reading section, that will also help you with this. And then elaborate, I give you sort of a real world problem, a kind of a temperature, which is something that we use negative numbers with to kind of apply what you're learning in a real world setting. So again, hopefully by the end of this lesson, you can confidently say, I can solve addition and subtraction mathematical problems containing negative numbers in real world problems. And I hope that this lesson maybe gives you some more basic understanding of how negative numbers work. And it's just another support for you as you move through this unit. So again, I encourage you, if you have not started yet, to please just try some checkpoints and maybe even watch one of these lessons to gain some understanding in the expectations that we have for you through this unit. So again, if you have any questions, please let me know, and hopefully this lesson will help you move forward. Thanks.